No, no. When causeway rivals clash with territories to conquer, the tension in the air is palpable. This is the 29th Southeast Asian Games on a humid night in Kuala Lumpur, and the heat is going to be turned up a couple of notches here at the Shah Alam Stadium as Malaysia lock horns with Singapore. A win for the Young Tigers and the semi-final lights will be illuminated. A win for Singapore and that semi's quest would still be in their hands. There have, though, been 3 draws in the past 4 meetings between these two sides, and if there's going to be a 4th in the 5th, the Young Lions will need favours from Malaysia's next opponents to qualify for the last 4. So much at stake for these under-22 boys who walk into the cauldron for their baptism of fire of a causeway derby. This is the first time Malaysia have met Singapore in the group stages of the SEA Games on home soil, and only their second meeting in Kuala Lumpur after the 1989 final, which Malaysia won by 3-1. It was a final known as the Lim Tiong Kim final. Despite Fandi Ahmad getting Singapore's only goal of that game, the Lions went down in their quest for the elusive football goal medal. This is Singapore's 25th attempt at football goal, and Fandi's son Irfan leads the teams out for the team in red against a Malaysian side who are touted as one of the favourites to go all the way into the final of these tournaments. Fandi Ahmad, by the way, spotted in the crowd tonight, so he is here to relish this opportunity. Both coaches have sounded the caution cavalry. Both have also been riding on the same thread of their strikers taking chances. So it does set up for a game that could swing in extremes. It does set up for a fantastic match that could just turn sour in a minute, or just come out and surprise with a bunch of goals to whichever team that'll be buzzing this Wednesday evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the national anthem of Singapore. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, pada hari yang dihormati, diminta berdiri bagi menghormati lagu kebangsaan Singapura. Mari kita raya Singapura sama-sama menuju bahagia, cita-cita kita yang mulia, berjaya.
Malaysia unbeaten in group games against Singapore since this was turned into an under-23 competition back in 2001, and you feel they have a couple more gears to access from their 2-1 win against Brunei 2 days ago. Singapore's last game against Malaysia was a 2-1 win in Myanmar for the Bronze. They went limp against the Burmese this time out in their opening match, but they have to take heart from their second half display, which showed a lot more fervour. Vo Minh Tin is the referee from Vietnam, as he gets all set and ready to get this game underway in what is a very changed Malaysian lineup against a Singapore lineup that sees only 2 changes. 2-1 against Brunei. It's not the score that a lot of people expected. 2-0 against Myanmar showed signs of the Lions actually coming forward and showing some bite up front as we have a look at Ong Kim Swee. This will be his 20th SEA Games match in charge in his 4th consecutive SEA Games. He's also the 20th Malaysian coach, a 2020 night for OKS, and he's hoping, of course, that at 2020 translates visionary-wise to his midfielders tonight, which is an all-change central midfield lineup for him. The crowd are trying to get involved as much as possible and trying to make this a frosty atmosphere for the young Lions. Irfan Fandi, can he make up for his dad's defeat to Malaysia 3-1 on the night itself in the 1989 final with a victory in this match? That'll go a long way, of course, to getting Singapore's chances back on again. 2 changes to the Singapore lineup that they make in their loss against Myanmar, and the 2 changes include Amiruldin Asraf coming in, and also Muhelmy Suhaimi, who takes the place of Joshua Pereira. Muhelmy takes the place of Haikal Paishia up front. There is the Singapore bench, which includes Adam Swandi, not risked yet again for this match, as he recovers from ankle ligament damage sustained while on club duty for Home United against Ceres exactly a week ago today. Well, that is that same chance which was so prevalent during the Youth Olympic Games in 2010. A couple of the players are featured there. Rishad Tardy is Singapore's 15th coach at the SEA Games, and he's looking for his first ever SEA Games victory. Malaysia make 6 changes to the squad that lost out against, that beats Brunei, I should say, by 2-1. The 3 centre-backs, though, Adib Zainudin, Irfan Zakaria, Adam Noazlin, along with Matthew Davies and Safawi Rasid, are kept in the squad, but the most significant of those changes sees S. Kumaahran come back from injury to take the place of Jeffrey Chu up front. Kumaahran has scored in his last 2 meetings against Singapore, although in friendly tournaments. There he is, Ong Kim Soo, looking very pensive for the moment, and he has already sounded out the warning to the rest of the nations and the teams that Singapore are a much improved side from what we saw at the AFC Under-23 qualifiers. And the Lions live up to that boast. New goalkeeper as well, Haziq Nadzli, coming in to replace Ifwat Akmal in goal. He plays for Johor Darul Taksim in the Malaysian Super League, although he hasn't started a match. So here we go, the 15th meeting in the SEA Games between Singapore and Malaysia. And straight away, the young Lions pump one long into Malaysian territory deep inside their half, hoping that they can start building up from here and preventing any sort of crosses from this man, Matthew Davies, because he's got a wicked right foot which can swing in and cause danger at any given moment. Ikhsan does well enough to pull the ball right back. So looking for the options there. It was Amiruldin's first touch of the game. Illyas doing nothing but just lifting the ball wide up. Malaysia do love to use the flanks as much as possible as Irfan comes, covers and clears. Cautionary tale then for Irfan Fandi. It's a febrile night in Malaysia and a fragile one for Singapore, with the handle with care stickers plastered all over the faces of these young Lions. No hiding ground at the Shah Alam Stadium. And the 15th meeting of these 2 sides, which more often than not ended in draws. In fact, Singapore have drawn games against Malaysia at the SEA Games more than any other team. Asraf, that's a little toe out, and a very good one as well from Hami Syahin, but the tackle that came right in was splendid. The Malaysians are very big, consisting of 4 players who actually competed at the last SEA Games. Singapore have got 2 of them, both centre-backs, Irfan Fandi and Amirul Adli. almost switching positions. It was Amirul down the right-hand side and Irfan down the left. It's Irfan who is taking the right centre-back slot today. Rusyaidi Salim's throws easily rejected by the Malaysians. At this time it's him who puts the ball out. They got off to a flying start against Brunei Malaysia, scoring a sumptuous goal that day. Safawi Rasid. So we have a look at Arif Farhan, who will patrol down this left-hand side. Hong Kim Swee does love to play a 3-4-3 formation. 3 centre-backs. It's very much the sexy football formation of this day and age. Irfan climbs superbly well. The touch-on was not bad either by Muhelmy. And Singapore tried to break out with Syahrul Sazali. Didn't find enough bend in that pass to search out to one of his strikers. Well, they need to look at the glass half full in that match against Myanmar. They were pretty limp in the first half, only creating a handful of chances. In fact, just a couple of them as Illyas Lee tries to put it down the channels for Amiruldin's chase. It's a hopeful ball more than anything else. Amiruldin tries to make the most out of it. Gets a starting slot today, the Home United striker, ahead of Haikal Paishya. And his first piece of action is just to put that little shove out on Arif Farhan. Haziq Nadzli. Let's take the free kick for Malaysia. Look out for the Malaysians playing those balls and trying to make the pitch as wide as possible. That's the reason why this Shah Alam pitch actually suits them perfectly fine, because they love to play those long diagonal balls, looking to get their wing backs running and running riot. They did it in the opening stages against Brunei, but it's a 3-man defense that can be had when the ball's played over the top. So with Ikhsan Fandi up front, Singapore might just want to exploit that as much as possible. Ikhsan was very dominant in the air against Myanmar. Irfan's free kick does find a teammate in Suhaimi. Muhaimin chases after this, which was almost a lost hope. Let's at least put some pressure under Davies for him to take it out and put it outside for a throw to Singapore. Well, we didn't see much Singapore as an attacking force in the first half against Myanmar, and all of a sudden in the second half it is as if it was a wake-up call from the attacking gods, and they showed up. They would want to take what they did in that second half, and hopefully it cascades in the first 15 minutes of this match. It's the opening shot, which is on target but easily fielded by the goalkeeper. Syahrul Sazali. Was that him who took the shot? I believe it was a Muhelmy Suhaimi who took that shot straight on at the goalkeeper. Well, they've asked for a free kick. Malaysian crowd. It's not forthcoming. Zharfan Rohaizad, who has been first choice for this squad, being trained up from the AFC Under-19s and AFF Under-19 tournaments last time out. They met each other, Malaysia and Singapore, at the AFF Under-19s. In fact, 13 of the players on the pitch played that day in that game, which went Malaysia's favour by 2-1. Adam Noazlin leaves the throw to Arif, one of 5 players who play for Kedah in the Super League. Irfan's been first to the ball ahead of Kumaahran every given opportunity. We've seen in the first match already that pace isn't one of the fortes of the Singapore centre-backs, and maybe that's the reason why Kumaahran's been preferred to Jafri Firdaus Chu for tonight's game. Rusyaidi has got time to come forward, get the ball from Hami Syahin, who wants the ball as much as possible. It's the thing about the number 14, as diminutive as he may be, he never hides from matches. Rusyaidi, clever ball to Ikhsan, who wants support inside the penalty box. Ikhsan does well to hold up play. Still Ikhsan Fandi. Well, Adam did enough to shake him off the ball, and Kumaahran begs his players to come forward, and here they come with Shamir. Syahmi, Amirul Hisyam had his legs taken out. Free kick Malaysia. Can be very potent on the counter-attack. Here he is, that little tank Amirul Hisyam, in the middle of the park. Scored 1 goal in those under-19 AFF championships last year. Matthew Davies given crossing opportunities, but well cut out by Syahrul. Does love to bomb for this Australian-born Malaysian right back. And he's one of the reasons why Ong Kim Sui's decided to play 3 at the back, for him to be a lot more adventurous. Oh. The foot was very, very high. The referee spotted it. The Singapore players want Amirul to be booked by the referee, but he's having none of it. It was actually number 14, Shamir Kutiaba, who came right into Illyas Lee, who is on a yellow card. Free kick from Singapore. At least they have coped with the first piece of Malaysian threat, offensive threat. Ong Kim Sui, 20 matches, 4 SEA Games in a row. No other Malaysian coach has come close to that record. Ikhsan tried to keep that one alive, but you can see its Malaysians have already targeted him as the real target man. Amirul's touch on actually helped out the defense, but helping out his defense was Rusyaidi, who came in and intervened at the right time and the perfect time as well. Syahin tried that little channel right through for Ikhsan. Watching very closely was Irfan Zakaria. And back they come again, the Malaysians with Arifan. The second shot on target for the night. And both have gone straight to the goalkeeper, this time from Safawi Rasid, a player who scored a sumptuous thumping volley in the first match against Brunei, which still being the best goal of the tournament. After the first round of matches, he's got a delightful left foot. Well, the plan is pretty clear. After what they saw with Brunei, put it just behind the Malaysian 3 centre-backs for Ikhsan to run onto. But Ikhsan does need Hami to play a little closer to him than he did against Myanmar, where they both almost filed divorce papers in that match, just way too far apart from each other. Captain Adib Zainudin, still Adib, challenge is not coming in, so decides to go on his very own wanderlust into the Singapore half. Adam, yet again that trademark crossfield pass down the flanks for the Malaysian wing backs to exploit, and they win a corner out of it. They are a very big side. All 3 centre-backs 1.8 meters and above. Adib, Irfan and Adam have gone up. Adam scored a goal against Brunei. He is a real menace in the air. So they have to watch Singapore. And this man has got a wicked left foot to do the needful. The cross is a very good one. Irfan misses it. No danger though. And it's completely cleared now. Well, they lost their markers for a while, and they expected Irfan Fandi to come claim this one easily. Instead, he completely lost it and relied heavily on a very good challenge at the end by Syahrul Sazali. He came right back and was very, very attentive. Singapore grateful for that. 10 minutes gone. 0-0 between Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore looking for their 40th ever win in the SEA Games. And that'll be so very important. In their hopes of qualifying for the semi-finals, they're battling hard enough and courageously to win the ball back. Syahin does the smart thing, which is take the challenge and look at the referee. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That time he gave the referee the eye even before the referee put whistle to mouth. And Singapore have a free kick to exploit. Hami carved out some sublime crosses the other day against Myanmar. What can he do now against Haziq Nadzli, former PDRM goalkeeper, plying his trade in JDT. Irfan's taking some interest in this as well. And we're going to see a pile driver from the number 17. He is capable of that, you know, Irfan Fandi. It looks direct enough to have a pot shot at goal, although it would take a stunning effort for that to happen. It is Irfan, right into a sea of black. You got to build it all over again. The call came very, very late. And fortuitously, the assistant referee flagged because Hami was caught dwelling on the ball. Was that miscom? Was that him trying to see what he can get away with? Tardy, 67 years of age, against 47-year-old Ong Kim Sui. 20 matches, SEA Games, 61% win record. He's experienced the highs of 2011. The high and height of that was attacked by Ikhsan, but well claimed by the goalkeeper. When you come all the way out that far to the edge of the penalty box, you better claim it, otherwise you're in danger. But speaking of Ong Kim Sui, he's experienced the highs of the 2011 gold medal, and then 4th place following year, and then out of the group stages last year in 2015. Just the 2nd time that Malaysia have been knocked out of the group stages since it's been turned into an under-23 event. Amirul Hisyam skillful enough to just nip himself away from a couple of challenges and then take the challenge for a free kick. So it's Malaysia's turn now to try to make full use of the latest dead ball situation. And behind it is Safawi Rasid. He scored the opening goal of the AFC Under-23 qualifiers. Malaysia went on to top the group. He scored the opening goal for Malaysia at the SEA Games, so they're hoping that that lucky omen cascades down to this competition, which they so desperately want to win on their home soil. They've only won once on their home soil. That was in 1977. Mokhtar Dahari scoring the winning goal in the final that year. Free kick is a very good one, but it was well watched. Had a lot of pace, bend, but not enough elevation to trouble the Singapore defense. Malaysia still keep the ball though with a throw. Safawi. Singapore team claiming for handball, and then the free kick. Referee gives neither way and says it's a corner for Malaysia, much to the delight of the fervent Malaysian supporters here. Well, it was the turf, wasn't it? Good decision by the referee. Safawi has decided to relinquish corner-taking responsibilities for Amirul Hisyam. An in-swinger which Singapore have to watch. It's not a very good delivery though. Matthew Davies. So Matthew Davies gets redemption out of that poor delivery with another corner. Malaysia's 4th of the night already, and this time it will be Safawi Rasid to come take this. The 2016 Malaysian Super League Young Player of the Year, taking the corner which was earned by the 2015 Young Player of the Year, Matthew Davies. Very watchful defending, needed to be as well. Safawi trying to just play it into space. Muhaimin completely misjudged the flight of the ball. Safawi shot, it's taken a lucky deflection. Well, it's an instinctive strike at the end. Syahmi Safari, Selangor player, was a deflection that led to the opening goal they conceded against Myanmar, and it almost happened again for the Young Lions. This time though, back to goal. Went for the spectacular. Could have actually set it up for Amirul. Hisyam was just waiting outside the box to pounce. Irfan, once again another header, one of the year. Amiruldin does likewise and wins the free kick in the process. Singapore, along with that final group game loss to Indonesia in 2015, haven't scored now in 196 minutes of football action at the SEA Games. Will that duck come to an end in this match? You almost feel it has to. It's a very nervous touch by Syahrul. Was rescued in the end by Muhelmy. Hami evades just one challenge. Muhaimin. Ikhsan's finally in the box now, waiting for a decent delivery. Doesn't come. Amiruldin does enough to slide it out to Rusyaidi, but a little too meaty behind that pass. Too much sugar behind it. It's going to be a throw for Malaysia. Slowly gaining dominance of this game now, the Malaysians. And Singapore, after burying their fangs in the opening stages of this first half, contented to allow the Malaysians to have possession of the ball and then make sure that they're organized and hard to beat, making sure that those channels are covered. And for the right and left wingers, Amiruldin and Muhaimin, it's going to be a nightmarish night. Hami gets away pretty well. Ikhsan wants the ball played right now. Hami still hangs on to the ball still. Hami took a deflection in the end, did it all by himself. A goalkeeper covered his near post. That was when Ikhsan wanted the ball played just inside of it, and they anticipated it to give Hami credit. So he used Ikhsan as a decoy and went all the way towards goal. It was going out, but the goalkeeper would say he was there to prevent the corner. Kumaahran. Still Kumaahran. Sliding challenge had to be measured perfectly, and it was from Amirul. Kumaahran. Ikhsan covers, Irfan I should say, covers well enough. Kumaahran's dragged outside. Very little players appearing inside the penalty box to meet any sort of delivery. Here is Davies. Well, he's tried to do one over Muhaimin, so Muhaimin's done likewise. We'll try to put that medicine right back into Davies. Amiruldin's got to watch this one. He's got to ensure that he defends well enough. And somehow it breaks his way. It's going to be a throw for Singapore. So still goalless in the 15th meeting between these two sides. Last time Malaysia beat Singapore at under 23 level. Singapore are unbeaten in 4 against Malaysia. Illyas bites and wins. Ikhsan pitch a little heavy. Ball's just holding up a lot longer for runners like Ikhsan. Hami can be a real nightmare. Well, Singapore unbeaten in 4 games against Malaysia. The last to remember, a 2-1 victory, 2 Haris Harun goals, winning the bronze medal. It's a very good run forward by Syahrul Sazali. It's a neither or sort of cross. Hami Syahin. Now it's a much better delivery. It's a little long though. He's looking for Amiruldin. Tried to knot it across goal foil. Ikhsan tried that little teardrop of a delivery right inside the penalty box, but it's not working so far in terms of the service for Ikhsan Fandi. Last time they lost to Malaysia, and the only time they lost to Malaysia at under 21 level, under 23 I should say, this is back in 2003. Rusyaidi caught napping, indecisive. Malaysians trying to take advantage of it. They have players in the box waiting to feast on any sort of a cross, which never came because The angle was never found by Safawi. 2003, Malaysia beat Singapore by 2-0. In fact, 2003, if you'd like to have a look at it that way, I don't know about you reading signs. 2003 was the last time Singapore failed to score in back-to-back games in a SEA Games tournament, and they started their matches losing 2-0 to Myanmar and then 2-0 to Malaysia. Might this be a case of deja vu, or are we going to see some cubs turn to real lions with a roar tonight? Halfway through this first half, had a couple of chances, a couple of easy saves for the goalkeeper to make. So far, hype of the match a lot bigger than the game itself. Ikhsan still can't escape the clutches of Irfan Zakaria. They're taking turns, Irfan Zakaria and Adam, to shackle Singapore's main target man. Rusyaidi Salim, the throw, gets the ball back and looks for the cross for Irfan. Yet again, delivery is not of the highest quality. The referee says play on and gives Rusyaidi another opportunity to deliver a better cross. Doesn't. I think there will be treatment given to the Singapore player who stayed down. Muhelmy, Suhaimi. Two sets of brothers playing in this game. The Fandi brothers and the Suhaimi brothers. And he's taking the place of Joshua Pereira for this match. Muhelmy Suhaimi. Sportingly given back to the Malaysians, who try to build up another attack. At least the Singaporeans have done their homework and done well enough to ensure that Malaysia don't play that long diagonal ball down the flanks. It's a goalkeeper trying it. It's a very poor goal kick. Zainudin couldn't hold on to the ball long enough. Amirul, though, is there sweeping diligently. Singapore have committed some players forward. Midfield's just opened up now and allowed Matthew Davies to come forward. This could spell danger. He prefers it with his right foot. That one's cleared easily. And now all of a sudden, numbers in short supply for the Malaysians at the back, but Amiruldin just played right into the hands then of a very, very experienced Adam Noah Azlin. E2 playing in his second SEA Games. Adam scored one at the last SEA Games against Vietnam. And he's already opened his accounts here. Adib to Davies. Back to Adib. Ikhsan trying to ensure that he defends from the front. Does well enough to win the free kick after a very poor touch by Amirul Hisyam. Well, Ong Kim Sui's got Tanabalan, the top scorer this year in under 23 matches. He says that he is half fit and is good enough for 30 minutes. Might be tempted to bring him on. He's also got the firepower of Shafiq Ahmad and Jaffrey Fidau's Chu on the bench. So they do have tons of options if they need to change up the pace of the game. Because at the moment, Singapore happy enough to allow them just dally the ball around, play it around, and hope to convert one of these opportunities. Ikhsan wins another header, but he was always coming towards his own goal. There goes the rampaging wing backs yet again. Safawi played for it, earned it. Free kick Malaysia. sorted out his feet fast enough. Irfan totally flummoxed by the number 6. So what can Malaysia do with this now? They've had a couple of crosses, dangerous enough, testing enough for the Singapore defenders to break a bead of sweat or two. Aside from a early save for Zharfan Rohaizad, he hasn't had much to do yet in this game. Are they going for the shot at goal now? Irfan Zakaria, Singapore's number 17, tried his luck and slammed it straight into a wall of Malaysians. What is Malaysia's number 17 going to do with this? Well, they changed the free kick taker. In the end, there was enough dip, there was enough subtlety in it, but not enough power to beat Zharfan. Another easy save for the custodian. Well, they can't keep giving away free kicks in this dangerous position. Kumaahran's broken the offside trap. It's well covered by Irfan. Was suffering a case of the Z's then, the Singapore backline, and just fell asleep, and Kumaahran broke away very much the same way they conceded that second goal against Myanmar. Now they're losing their heads a little bit now, the young Lions. Malaysia sense this might be the perfect time for the opening strike. He needs organization in front of him, and maybe he needs to organize it himself. First thing to do is to erect the wall to block any sort of path towards goal. This man, Safawi Rasid, has got the ability to sneak it in Zharfan's left upright, so he's got to watch for that. It's only a two-man wall, so Safawi can take full advantage of this. Or is it going to be a floater in the box where the likes of Adam are waiting for a sumptuous delivery to happen? Matthew Davies, he too another player above 1.8 meters in the penalty box. No Aslan, watch by Irfan. Safawi does go for goal, and it's very good work by Muhaimin. He stuck to his task. "15 minutes remaining. Still 0-0. Malaysia, though, pressing claims for the opening goal. Yet again, Irfan jumps, mistimed, but Singapore come away with it, and the counter-attack is on now if they take full advantage of this. Muhaimin, though, decides to check, and because of that, Kumaahran takes one for the team and holds him down. But there was a real glimmer of hope for the young Lions, because the break was on then, and it was almost a 4-on-4 situation. However, the heavy pitch yet again misbehaved and held the ball up long enough for Muhaimin not to be able to open his strides up. And pass behind from Syahrul was the right idea, just the execution, he got it all wrong. Great work by Amiruldin. And here is a chance for him to stretch his legs now. Amiruldin Asraf fell right into the trap. Adam knew exactly what he was doing. Well, that's the benefit of a striker turned defender. Adam Noazlin started off as an attacker. He's now playing more and more at the back line, even for the national side. He is Malaysia's very own version of Irfan Fandi, who's lost the latest battle, that time against Shami Safari. Oh, they've set up camp and they're renting spaces all over the Singapore defensive third at the moment. Malaysia. Kumaahran sets up for a cross which has to be defended. Amirul does get head to ball. Syahrul does splendidly well with a jump and needed to as well. Syahrul Sazali. Two players lurking. Not the best of crosses from Davies, at least according to his high standards. Tackle does come in from Muhaimin. It's getting scrappy here. It'll only suit the Malaysians as Irfan clears first time yet again. And here's the break. What a brilliant takedown that one was by Hami Syahin. This time he does find Ikhsan. Ikhsan's shackled off the ball. It's a throw to Singapore. Is the referee going to call this back for a free kick? Because that was a very crude challenge laid out on Hami Syahin. What a take that one was. He absolutely killed it, as if his right foot was filled with beanbags, and then played it in for Ikhsan. That was his only pass available. And Singapore players wanting the Vietnamese referee to call it back for a free kick. Vo Minh Thi though says it's a throw. Some respite for the Singapore players, but for how long before the Malaysians come back at them again? He's got to do much better to protect the ball. Syahrul in danger of the counter-attack now from the Malaysians. Shamir, ball up to Safawi. It's been kept quiet enough, but we all know he can spark to life at any given minute with his ability and skills. Amirul Hisyam, well watched once again, channel cleared by Irfan. It's Ikhsan trying to take on the whole Malaysian defense all by himself. He doesn't give up. There's no give up in this boy. Referee says it's handball. Was that? Well, at least the assistant referee was pointing to his hand and saying Ikhsan handled the ball. Let's have a look at it again. There we go. 50-50. You can say that the assistant referee was nearby enough to feel that he did use it to his advantage. Kumaahran given time to turn and spot. He did the first part, completely flubbed up the latter. Well, they've restricted the Malaysians to long pot shots at goal. I think Tadi will be happy enough with his defense, which stood firm against Myanmar for long periods. It's just the incisiveness that they haven't showed up front yet. Ikhsan almost pilfering, stealing the ball away. Muhaimin. Almost 50-50 pass by Muhaimin. Suhaimi did score a goal against Malaysia in the Dubai Cup. Muhaimin. That was a nasty challenge. It's a combination of a slip and an anxiety to win the ball back after giving it away. I've seen referees give yellow cards for that. He just flew in then, didn't he, Muhaimin? And yet again, another loose ball taken away. Ikhsan. Turn of pace, beaten to it by Irfan Zakaria, who took off first. Here is Adib. Matthew Davies. Syahrul does well enough. Simple enough job. Yet again, the communication's almost lacking as Illyas He's guilty of waiting for the ball to fall to feet and almost gave it away. Muhaimin keeps the attack going for Syahrul Sazali. Syahrul blocked out by Davies. Tardy is just screaming at the referee and saying, what was that? That wasn't called, but Hami Shahins won the ball back. Here is Ikhsan. Amiruldin. Ikhsan just outside of him. Amiruldin goes by himself. What a goal! Absolutely brilliant. That's the reason why he's been brought into this team. Amiruldin Asraf silences the Shah Alam with a splendid strike. Cats among the pigeons. Singapore lead Malaysia by 1-0. And it's brilliantly taken. Absolutely superb. Everybody thought he was going to play in Ikhsan. Everybody thought that the route to goal belonged to the number 11. Instead, he's shown us why he's one of the more exciting young players in the S League for Home United. Amiruldin Asraf put Singapore 1-0 up against Malaysia. Exactly what the doctor ordered. For Rishad Tardy and gang, nothing he could do. Haziq Nadzli. It all stemmed from Hami Syahin coming right back and winning the ball in midfield before Ikhsan found Amiruldin. Irfan. Well, I'm sure he'll be the first to remind his teammates, Irfan, Fandi, that it's just as quick that teams can score. We got to watch ourselves and make sure that we maintain that discipline and organization, which has worked so well so far. The two Suhaimi brothers have combined well enough. The space though broken down by Malaysia, strangling the Singapore attack by closing down the space so very quickly. Hami, clever enough touch. The referee surely got a book. A Malaysian player then, Shamir Kutiaba. It's actually Amirul Hisyam is just given a talking to. Hami is still totally winded. Well, after 218 minutes, Singapore finally find a goal in the SEA Games. And Amiruldin Asraf happens to be the 9th different scorer for Singapore against Malaysia at the SEA Games. The Malaysians have got 17 different scorers, none of them scoring more than a goal against Singapore through the years. Irfan, is Hami trying to make a real nuisance of himself by attacking the ball which he had no right to win. Here's Muhaimi. Still Muhaimi, clipped. Free kick Singapore. Muhaimin, Suhaimi. Lots of guts. At least there's a sense of fearlessness in this match, which we didn't see against Myanmar, in the way the players are more than willing to keep the ball, run at the defense and open spaces up. So that has returned slightly to the Singapore side. A 2-goal lead, it would seem very undeserved to take to the break, but it'll be great for Singapore if they can take advantage of this. Hami Syahin! Close. Yet again, everybody thought they're going to be aiming at the Fandi brothers. Irfan, Ikhsan, when charging in, trying to go after that, and Hami Syahin tried to be the cutest player on planet Earth with that little dink, and almost did. Oh, it's exactly what Singapore would have wanted. Malaysian crowd now getting at the back of the Malaysian players with a miscontrol and a misstep or two. this is the period where they have to try to take advantage of it. As much as you don't want to give away silly goals and make yourself tight to protect this lead going into half-time, but if you've got your tails up and you're on the ascendancy, I feel that the Malaysians are a little vulnerable for the moment in the back line. Go for it. Kumaahran touch on, which finally found its way to Amirul. Kumaahran keeps chasing after this. It's good enough defending by Amirul. Most importantly, didn't allow the ball to bounce and didn't allow Kumaahran to continue his run, because if you go stride for stride, Malaysian strikers usually going to beat you with a searing pace. Well, now thoughts abound for Ong Kim Sui heading to half-time. Ikhsan with a rare loss in the air. Adam. Crossfield pass yet again, that Malaysian trademark, which we haven't seen a lot of. Give credit to the Singapore boys for preventing it in this match. They live and die by the flanks, don't they? Malaysian Tigers. Adib, easy-headed clearance. Time now to control it in midfield for Samir. Uses Adib. Zainudin, his captain. Davies. 1-2 has tried, but yet again Singapore keep themselves and keep their shape. They've made themselves a lot more compact in this game than they did against Myanmar. Especially the wingers, Amiruldin and Muhaimin. They've gone through miles and worked tirelessly, not just as an offensive force and trying to hold the ball up long enough, but also coming back to defend. Amiruldin's trying to feast on that latest free kick, just easily headed back to goalkeeper from Adam. Irfan Fandi says this is mine, but it isn't. He's got to go tracking back again. Kumaahran's ball easily stolen away. Hami shines, broken clear of Adib. Still Hami. Ikhsan's gone into an offside position. He can't deliver the ball now to Ikhsan. That's the reason why he held it up. However, that pass had to be slipped through. It had to be slipped a lot earlier than that. Chance for the strike. Ball slightly behind. It's a free kick, needlessly given away. He had lost control of the ball. The Singapore defenders were closing down on him. Kumaahran. There we go. He'd lost control of the ball, and needlessly Muhelmy with a belated trip, and a chance now for Malaysia from a position which can be had. They conceded around about this time against Myanmar in the opening game, Singapore. They wouldn't want to do it against Malaysia because it truly changes the talks at halftime for both coaches. Adam Noor Azlin and Shamir Rasid, the scorers of the 2 goals in the opening game against Brunei, now in discussions debating this direct free kick. Zharfan's already been tested once. Is he going to stand up to this now in a more direct position? One's got the rocket. The other one's got the roller. They go for the latter! Crossbar comes to Singapore's rescue, and that will be the final piece of action in the first 45 minutes. A game which really was very much hyped about before the start of it, but it had a muted start and opening exchanges. Couple of saves made by the goalkeeper. Not much as an attacking force from Malaysia or Singapore, but then the first half just came to life after a quite a brilliant strike by Amiruldin Asraf. And then 2 minutes later, Hami Syahin hit the upright, and before halftime, it was Safawi Rafiq who hit the crossbar. Singapore take the goal lead into halftime against Malaysia. 1-0 at the break here at the Shah Alam. Welcome back to the Shah Alam Stadium, and you see the number 12 of Malaysia on the pitch, and Tanabalan, the top scorer this year in under 23s for the Malaysians, the top scorer as well, the recent AFC under 23 qualifiers. There he is, Tanabalan, all set to be unleashed on a Singapore squad. This boy has got pace, this boy has got a nose for goals. He was injured recently though in their training matches. And another change is Noor Azam Azir, the indefatigable midfielder, coming on to replace the ineffective Amirul Hisyam. Huge roar coming out for the entrance of Tanabalan. It's a combination of Kumaahran and Tanabalan, who gets involved straight away by getting stuck in with Irfan Fandi. First touch of the ball for Azam to spread it wide. It's slightly behind the diving Kumaahran, but the danger signs are there already, and whatever Ong Kim Swee puts into the drinks of the Malaysians, it certainly included some caffeine, because they've woken up in the early minutes of the second half and trying a more direct approach, not changing with the formation but making sure that the strikers are close by with one another instead of the first half where it seemed as if it was a silo effect for Kumaahran, who had to drop very deep just to get involved with play. Adam keeps the ball. It's the quarterback Azam, who is the creative director of the squad, usually comes up with some brilliant deliveries and passes as well. Referee says play on, advantage. Davies, Kumaahran trying to combine with Tanabalan. Tanabalan wants it as wide as possible so that the cross can be affected by Adib. Angle cut out, had to go inside. It's cleared first time by a returning Ikhsan Fandi. He's come all the way just to help out defensively, and maybe that's what's required. Some character and steel in the Singapore side to maintain that 1-goal lead given to them by Amiruldin. Gets himself stuck in and on the ball. Hami Syahin didn't fancy chasing after that. Azam to Adib. Tanabalan yet again trying to work the 1-2. Muhaimin's done well to break clear. Here is Ikhsan. Oh, well, let's see what he was trying to do, because he expected and anticipated Irfan Zakaria to go close by and closely on him, drop the shoulder and take him on for a run. But Irfan was anticipating what Ikhsan was going to do. Quick passes from Azam. Huge difference already since he's been on. It's well read by Rusyaidi. Farhan finding Kumaahran. Irfan's got a watch. Oh, that was totally unnecessary from the Singapore captain. Because Kumaahran had gone to a space where he was almost in a cul-de-sac and couldn't find anything to provide any sort of a cross. And all Irfan had to do then was just hold his ground and prevent the angles. He's given away a free kick, which is a lifeline for Malaysia. Step forward, Safawi Rasid. Singapore just need to quell these early Malaysian threats in the opening minutes of this half. Zharfan gets rubber to rubber. Singapore players though conspire to give Malaysia another opportunity in the box. No penalty. The referee was watching it all the way. Tanabalan tried to play for it. It's actually Kumaahran who went down way too easily. There we go. One clearance. Twice they had opportunities to clear it after a little up in the air punch from Zharfan, and twice they failed to. Calmness needed, and the last thing they need is for their captain to go sliding in on challenges like that. Still stubborn after 5 in the second. Hami might have done better to allow it to run onto Ikhsan, who had been latching onto that ball. Is Arif. Beautiful pass to Davies. Adib trying to use the pace of Kumaahran. Amirul's not going to dive it into the challenge. He's learned from his captain's mistake earlier. Hami Syahin has got himself right back into danger. The Malaysians are now just very tenacious in everything that they're doing, just getting themselves onto the ball as soon as possible. Where was this urgency in that first half from the young Tigers? It's as if they've worked up an appetite at half-time. Ikhsan does well enough to keep the ball, but I think he was offside, running back from an offside position. He's done well in this game, Vominti. And the Malaysian crowd sense something special here in the second half, because the side certainly have their tails up. It's offside, Davies. But that change in personnel, taking Amirul Hisyam out and bringing on Azam, has made a huge difference to the side already. Azam Abdul Aziz has just transformed this game with his eye for a pass. Target yet again, Ikhsan. Ball somehow inadvertently finds its way back to the number 11. Irfan Zakaria stepping in at the right time to clear it. Oh, poor touch that time from Muhaimin. Singapore players gasping for air at the moment because the Malaysians just strangling them out of every given situation whenever they have possession of the ball. Yet again, giving away a needless free kick. Amiruldin the culprit this time. Safawi the victim. He steps away, looking to hunt in the penalty box. It will be Azam Aziz. Trying to find a way past Zharfan. Irfan trying to work the line and keep themselves organised and disciplined. Line's broken. And the Singapore players just flinging their bodies all over the place to ensure that Tanabalan didn't get a free header at goal, and somehow it worked. Give credit to Syahrul Sazali, who came right back and just put his body on the line. That's all he could do. Make sure that it wasn't going to be a free plant into the back of the net for Tanabalan. He will be happy with how his team has responded in the second half. On Kim Sui. Ikhsan yet again fighting over scraps, trying to keep anything alive. Rushaidi's play Tanabalan onside. The assistant referee says that was a complete dive, because if it was, it should have been a yellow card for Tanabalan. No, there was a slight clip there, right there from Syahrul Sazali. So that wasn't a dive, neither was that on purpose to give away the free kick. And Tanabalan, this is really trying to test out that knee of his. She strained and injured during the training sessions leading up to the SEA Games. On Kim Sui did say that he's good enough for 30 minutes, but he's given him 45 because he needs a saviour. Davies. Irfan strong, using his physical prowess. Amiruldin does enough to ensure that ball is retained. As always, Ikhsan fights for anything airborne when Malaysia break clear. It's poor cross. Very poor delivery in the end. Much to the chagrin of the crowd. Arif Farhan did everything right. Blitzed his way forward to join in the attack. And then the final delivery just let him down. Well, that Malaysian left to wing back, Arif, will forever be etched in Singapore's history, if you want to or not. Youngest ever player to play in the S-League in 2012 at 16 years of age when he turned out for Harimau Muda. The now disbanded Harimau Muda. And Muhaimin's getting himself involved in some afters here, which has not pleased the crowd, and it's given him a yellow card. Another unnecessary moment. And thankfully for him, he hasn't been booked yet. Otherwise, it would have been a moment of madness on Matthew Davies. Adam Noazlin. Arif couldn't squeeze it through for Safawi, who is now into a lot of space. Rushaidi's got to watch here. Safawi always wants it on his left foot. There's that little neat nutmeg. Safari's broken clear. Ikhsan, surely that's going to be a free kick, and the referee calls it belatedly. That's the benefit of having Ikhsan Fandi here. So we have a look at it once again. Safawi's got all the skill and ability in the world, slippery as you like, just to create that opportunity, create that space and attack the byline. At that time, Rusyaidi just a little too naive in allowing him to turn, trying to cut off the cross on the right foot when it's pretty clear that he's always wanting it on his left peg. Amiruldin loses out to the air, but it's okay because it's a throw for Singapore. Adam Swandi, number 10 you see in the middle of your screen. Will he be needed in this match? Are they going to save him for the game against Laos? Rusyaidi, there's too many Malaysian players for you to play that sort of game. It's another dive into the challenge by Muhelmy Suhaimi. This time he does get foot to ball, which was good news, because if the Malaysian had broken clear, that would have been another yellow card in the offing. Kumaahran a little too physical on Irfan. Takes a lot to bring down Singapore's behemoth. Clever ball by Irfan. Amiruldin, oh, that was unnecessary. Flicks and tricks coming out a little too early. Irfan didn't want to take the chance with a pass back to Zharfan. There we go, that call from Rishad Tardy. Play it simple, Amiruldin. I know you've scored a spectacular goal. It doesn't give you the excuse to actually try that little Rabona, that part of the pitch. And you had the opportunity to keep the ball as long as possible. It's up in the air and it's cleared by Amirul. They've dovetailed each other well enough, Amirul and Irfan. The elbow was flung. Illyas has gone down, but the referee says play on. Shamir, Tanabalan, Davies wins the ball back, gives away the free kick. This time that long punt eludes Ikhsan. Amiruldin does well enough, but then turns right back into danger. Adib gives the ball right back. Ikhsan trying to work a 1-2 with Hami. Oh, they had runners on the outside, and in the end the attack peters out after free kicks given away by Muhelmy. But Hami had options then, either to slip it right back into Ikhsan or play it on the outside, because Muhaimin had just joined in the attack. and gone galloping down the left-hand side. He went for goal and slapped it right into a Malaysian body. Shamir given a second chance after a straightforward clearance by Amirul. Another ball played out delightfully by Azamazi. Safawi breaking clear of Rusyaidi way too easily. Safawi. The positioning then of Amirul was absolutely superb. He anticipated, he gambled, and it paid off. Danger's not over yet. Kumaahran! It's a player who loves scoring against Singapore. Last two meetings in the AFF Under-19. Well, not the AFF Under-19, but the Dubai Cup and the Banglabandu Cup. He scored goals against Singapore. As I said, they might be friendly tournaments, but they still count for Kumaahran. That goal against Singapore in the Dubai Cup, the only goal he scored for the Under-23s this year in fleeting appearances for the Penang forward. Oh, what a difference the number 8 has made to this Malaysian game and the flow of it all, because he's added a lot more fluidity in terms of the usage of the ball. Yet again, Ikhsan offside. Irfan Zakaria. Adam. Shamir. Azar. Amirul is just having a stormer of a game at left centre-back. Amuirul Adli has got a point to prove against Malaysia. He was the youngest member of the 2014 Suzuki Cup squad. The Singapore centre-back, and actually came on against Malaysia in the last 7 minutes when Singapore were trying to protect a 1-1 draw, only to see Malaysia scoring twice, 3-1, and they went through to the semi-finals at the expense of the Lions. So, good performance needed to banish those memories. Ikhsan has an opportunity to use his body to full effect. Did it well enough the first time, but Irfan Zakaria came with a crunching challenge. Irfan a little too close once again on Kumaahran. He's got to watch Irfan. He's almost on the cusp of a booking from the referee already. Well, Muhaimin's gone down, claiming that he was punched in the gut. Malaysian fans not too happy with it. As Singapore are prepared to bring on and risk Adam Swandi. Most likely for Hami Syahin, we'll see. Or maybe even for Amiruldin Asraf. He's just been earning the bird of the coach for giving the ball away way too easily, despite scoring the only goal of the game. And this is how it happened. Everybody thought he was going to pass it on to one of his fellow forwards. He had just glory in his eyes. Fame beckons and taken. That's a magnificent goal. Even he was a little surprised by that. "20 minutes played in the second half. Singapore hanging on by a thread. Adib way too hard. Tanabalan, even at his fittest, wouldn't have gotten to that ball. Is it now time for Singapore to make that change? And Risha Tadi's trying to see how Muhaimin's holding up before he flashes that number on the board. Zharfan has been largely untroubled today. And what he's been asked to do, he's handled well enough. Positioning wise and coming out to claim those crosses. Azamazi. Safawi This time much better defending by Rusyaidi. Just can't go diving on a player like Safawi. He'll take full advantage of it. In fact, he was waiting for the fullback to commit, but Rusyaidi didn't this time and marshalled the ball out of play. Well, so far, Rishad Tadi's changes have been justified, and if it carries on this way, Onkim Sui's changes to the starting 11 might be vilified tomorrow morning, especially with the absence of Adam Azir in midfield. He's totally transformed the game with his fluid passing, his slick ability to find a man short or long. It will be Muhaimin Suhaimi who gives way. Adam Swandi comes on. His second SEA Games appearance. His first at these games. Safawi. Still Safawi. Azamade! The pocket rocket has been launched, and Malaysia are right back in it. Found by Safawi, but he still had a lot to do, and he took it all on. Little back lift. Little Zharfan could do. That just scared away all kids. It's a screamer. One apiece. And the fans salute Azamazi. Oh, that's what he provides, and that's what he brings to the side. That's why there was a head scratcher when he was left out of the squad in the first place. The Pahang player who has already been capped by the national side, well, called up at least, but not capped yet. Just a matter of time. Safawi this time trying to drop the ball to the on-rushing Kumaahran. We're back to all square with 21 minutes remaining. Superbly poised, this fixture, and it's Singapore now making the basic errors. A straight pass by Irfan. The young Lions certainly showed up in this must-not-lose game. But then a draw would leave qualifying for the semi-finals totally out of their hands. As Adib storms forward for Malaysia. This time he finds Davies. Amirul's there to cover. Davies somehow dinks the ball in. And Zharfan was watching it all the way through. Good enough to claim it, but it was almost an impossible angle. But somehow Matthew Davies manages to clip it inside into a dangerous position. Malaysians just winning every battle on the pitch at the moment. Davies with the latest throw for them. At the moment, they just can't find the ball out of their own halves, and they're giving it away too easily. Illyas, the culprit. Kumaahran snatched at it. Credit to Amirul, who came back in time to make it difficult for the number 10 to find the target, or at least pick his spots. He had to take it instinctively. He signaled to the bench he's okay. They've warmed up Jafri Fidau's Chu. Singapore just can't get out of their own half at the moment. Balls to Ikhsan. Fandi have just been long, asking a lot for the target man and central striker to do something with it. Hami Syahin, who's been playing a little closer to him in this game than he did against Myanmar, has had a very quiet second half. And Ikhsan is back acting in his own version of Lonely Island. So something has to be done there. For the Malaysians, the introduction of Adam Azeh has just changed the whole face of this game. And he has put some quality into his midfield passing. And the equalizer, of course, to top it all off. Yet again, long to Ikhsan, who can't do anything with that ball in the air. The Malaysians have handled those aerial duels superbly well against Ikhsan in this match. He was winning about 80% of hitters against Myanmar. He's probably won only about 40% in this match. Davies with space to cross. Davies decides to go for the driller instead of hanging one up in his normal languid way. Even Shamir Kutiaba has got a spring in his step now. Arif. Adam Swandi handles that one easily enough. Ikhsan bullied off the ball by Shamir. Wasn't the most accomplished of touches. Davies. Surely now, that's the go-ahead goal. Couple of unlucky deflections yet again, ruining Singapore. And Malaysia have come right back into this. 2 goals from 2 substitutes. The second from the top scorer in this year's under-23 matches for Malaysia. And Tanabalan, right place, right time, rifled. Amirul Adli, who's had such a superb game, just fluffed his lines when it came to the clearance, and it fell for Safawi Rasid. And as fortuitous as it was, you still had to be there, hunting, and Tanabalan was. Well, they've clawed themselves right back. On Kim Sui, on the verge now of 2 wins from 2. Got a feeling that Joshua Pereira has come on for Singapore. We'll confirm that for you in a while. Could hardly hear the announcements in the stadium. In introducing the Singapore substitutes of 15 minutes from trying to hold fort to trying to rescue. Joshua does come on for Muhelmy. Little reverse of the substitution that happened against Myanmar the other day. Well, they need probably Taufik Suparno to appear somewhere down the line, or maybe even Hanafi Akbar or Haikal Pasha, more than they need a holding midfielder for these final stages. Well, you look back at Hami Syahin's free kick that rocks the uprights, and you think if that had gone in, would that have just demoralized the Malaysians? Retrospect's usually the best master. No use dwelling on that. At least they've got 15 minutes left to chase a 1-goal deficit, as opposed to their opening game against Myanmar. Shah Alam has come alive, and the host nation usually employs the football games and hopes that the host nation does well in it, not just at the SEA Games but at every games. It's the first time that Malaysia have scored 2 against Singapore since 2003, and this strike by Tanabalan is Malaysia's 20th goal that they've scored against Singapore at the SEA Games. A night of 20s for Ong Kim Sui. 20th goal against Singapore. 20th match in charge of the SEA Games. Shamir. Adib. Asked to perhaps take a pot shot at goal. Zharfan alert enough. Oh, they invited him to take a shot. It's almost daring him to and saying, "You can't, can you?" Oh, Amiruldin's pulled up. He's holding his hamstring. It's not a very good sign. Might that be his last piece of action tonight? He certainly gave Singapore a real gift in the first half. Zharfan to Irfan. Might we see him move forward to Irfan Fandi and reprise his striker's role? Pereira. Oh, poor ball. That was exactly what was not required at this time from Joshua Pereira. Feeble attempt at goal as he rescued his blushes from Safawi. Zharfan tries to get it going and keep the impetus in Singapore's favour. Oh, it's almost as if they threw all their attacking eggs in the first half basket. They've left nothing in the second now. Adam Swandi trying to get a little swag going on. So, Ikhsan has been second best to a lot of balls tonight. He's been well marshalled by Irfan Zakaria and Adib Zainudin. Kumaahran happy to let that one run out for a throw. Come off the bench, a top scorer at the under-23 AFC qualifiers, and scored as 6th of the year for the under-23s. Amiruldin showing us why he is very much a striker more than a defender. Almost fluffed his lines and prevented Malaysia with a chance. The breakout is on. Yet again, a little too slow in distributing the ball. That time Illyas, the guilty party. Now, all these battles that were won by Singapore in the first half, those 50-50 situations, those second balls, are going the way of the Malaysians in the second. They've illuminated the night with their second 45 minutes, led of course by the combative diminutive Azamazi. Ikhsan asked to chase, lost causes yet again. Adib this time comes across, goes for the safety option. Singapore finally have some space in the Malaysian defensive third. And as Syahrul Sazali has spent the whole half trying to keep out Matthew Davies from sending dangerous crosses in. The ball's gone to Hami, who's dwelled on it way too long. Way too long. Took too long to make up his mind. Malaysian crowd weren't too happy with the fact that the ball's played down and given right back to Singapore. Irfan. That is a very good pass to Aram. Amiruldin, he's already hit one from that distance into goal. He sets up Rusyaidi. Oh, they win a corner. It wasn't the most convincing cross, but helped by Aram Noazlin's deflection. They have a set-piece situation to get right back in this. Taufik Suparno. Final throw of the dice for Amirul Adli. Defender coming off, a striker coming on. We know what the ploy is. Illyas most likely will fit into centre-back alongside Irfan, who's gone right up into the penalty box now. Hoping for something to gobble up. Illyas and Joshua right in the mix, trying to distract it and trying to keep off the runners. It's almost like a pick and roll in basketball. So that's Irfan and Ikhsan have free runs onto goal. The strike does come in, and it's a very good one. Held by the goalkeeper. The goal scorer Amiruldin found an angle, but Haziq Nadzli was right there, standing at the only gap that the striker had, and it did fall right into him. Well, it's another 50-50 situation, which Joshua Pereira is telling the referee he was climbing after this. One of a few decisions that the Vietnamese referee has got wrong tonight. Joshua's had eyes on the ball all the way. Six minutes remaining. Have the young Lions one more attack in them. They have to keep it at 2-1 though. Shamir beaten to it by Rusyaidi. Kumaahran wants the free kick. He's gone down way too easily a couple of times already. Ikhsan finally with some room to turn. Turned into trouble. See Amiruldin just hanging his head in disbelief because he wanted the ball played out to him as soon as possible for him to have that little run on. Here is the star man, Azamazi. They're happy to go all the way back to Haziq. Adib to Azam. See those quick little passes just to ignite something and get their attackers moving again. Safawi couldn't slide rule it into the path of Tanabalan. Lovely touch by Adam Swandi. That is the quality he does bring to the team. He was going for goal, you know. Amiruldin. He's already got one, and he decided to just take a crack at another. Best of first touches then for Taufik Suparno. Neither was that a very good ball. Looking for Irfan, who's gone up to join in the attack. Thought he won it cleanly. The referee thought otherwise. Irfan on Irfan, and it's the Malaysian version that wins it. 2 17s, 2 Irfans. Fandi brothers up front. Safawi Rasid, who created the first goal and has troubled the Singapore defence time and time again with those incisive runs and that ability to hang on to the ball and create angles. He will depart. Akia Abdul Rashid takes his place. A more defensive-minded midfielder. Rusyaidi got nowhere but to clear that one, faced with a substitute. And he'll be more than happy if he's just brought on to win throws, especially this deep in opponent territory. Kumaahran. Haram Swandi does enough. Take one away from danger. Taufik clears another. This is exactly what the Malaysians want. Taufik does well. That's going to be a free kick for Singapore. Now they've got the Fandi towers up there. Surely this one's going to be launched long for either one of them. Illyas bringing down Kumaahran unnecessarily. It eats up precious seconds. It gives Malaysia the ball. It will be Malaysia's first victory over Singapore at the SEA Games in 5 attempts. But it'll be a precious, precious victory. One which would go a long, long way in securing their semi-final spot. Almost there. The 3 points and the final 4. Almost over for Singapore. Four added minutes. That's all they have to rescue this game. Will this be the icing? Still Malaysia ball. Singapore just don't have the nous to get out of their own half. Don't see many more chances, probably just a couple in the final 3 minutes. They have to take full advantage whenever they have the ball now, the young Lions. At least make the defense work, make the goalkeeper work. Rusyaidi. Irfan keeps it alive. Taufik Suparno. Still Taufik. Ikhsan. Taufik. Corner. All hands to whatever pumps for Singapore. All hands over whatever eyes for Malaysia. That's a poor delivery. Such a poor delivery. And they've broken clear. Zharfan's committed. Zharfan's fouled. Oh, that wasn't Zharfan. That was the good news, but it might be a red card for Syahrul Sazali. Just a yellow, he escapes. All they had to do was just punt it back. I didn't know that Syahrul Sazali was right back there, just in front of Zharfan. And all Adam Swandi had to do was to play the ball back to him. But he tried to turn and force himself into being creator and lost the ball and almost lost the plot. But really, you sense that that final opportunity came with a corner. The delivery was so poor. All it needed was the ball to be hung up. Hung right up. Seconds remaining. Surely Zharfan's got to get his skates on. The boys need a little bit of chutzpah up front. Free kick surely. Oh, referee didn't give it. Is there time for one last attack? Taufik. Free kick Malaysia. And surely now the young Lions will have to face a flight back after it looked so rosy and promising in the first half. Malaysia win. 2 wins out of 2, both by 2 goals to 1, but this one needed the intervention of a couple of substitutions from Ong Kim Sui. Amiruldin Asraf had given Singapore a lead with a brilliant strike 7 minutes to the end of the first half. Then they hit the post. Malaysia hit the post as well before the interval. But in the second half, the introduction of that number 8 changed everything. Azam Azzi just took the game by the scruff of its neck and let his quality bleed throughout the team with his passing, his incisiveness and his precision as well, and his ability to find channels. He got the equalizing goal, and after that, 10 minutes after that, the Malaysians got the go-ahead goal. What turned out to be the winner from the number 12. The other substitutes at halftime, and Tanabalan came on and had a lucky break as the ball broke free to him after a shot by Safawi Rasid. Took a wicked deflection. He was on the edge of the 6-yard box and he was not going to miss with an open goal gaping. Singapore did try themselves to come back in the game after that, but the quality was always lacking. And the final score from the Shah Alam Stadium sees Malaysia beating Singapore by 2 goals to 1.